She didn't breathe. Breathing was inefficient. Instead, Varela let the filtered oxygen cycle through her pulmonary channels while her eyes followed the human across the data bridge. He walked like gravity was a personal joke. Hair disheveled, boots unlaced, uniform rumpled, like order refused to settle on his frame. Kai Morgan had arrived 2 weeks ago. The exchange program was ceremonial. Humans were biologically volatile, emotionally unstable, and intellectually unpredictable. The Prime Corps allowed his presence as a gesture of goodwill. Nothing more. Varela's assignment was to observe, report anomalies, and ensure no contamination spread. Contamination, as defined by the Prime Corps, included laughter, questioning collective will, and forming emotional attachments. He leaned against a server column, prying into the diagnostics with bare hands instead of precision gloves. The problem isn't the conduit, it's the resonance pattern. Your AI is using a feedback loop that's too tight. She blinked. The AI's calculations are within a 99.86% efficiency margin. He looked up, grinning. Yeah, and that's why it nearly fried the power core. No offense, but your machine's smart enough to fail with confidence. Confidence wasn't a metric the Prime Corps recognized. She didn't respond. He shrugged and returned to his work, humming a sequence of notes that spiraled off key. Later, when she reviewed the log footage, her eyes lingered, not on the data, but on the way he hummed while rerouting power, how his fingers danced over systems with instinct instead of instruction. 3 days later, the ship jolted. A plasma leak, a malfunction no AI had predicted. Vapor and fire filled the engineering bay. Varela stood frozen, calculations flooding her neural link. Kai didn't hesitate. He dove through smoke, pulled a technician from the spill zone, and sealed the breach with a manual override that ignored every safety protocol. They called it a reckless, inefficient maneuver. She called it something else. She didn't have the word. He walked into the observation bay, still coughing from smoke exposure. "You okay?" he asked her, voice raspy. "I was not in danger." "Didn't ask that," he replied. "I asked if you're okay." She didn't answer. He held something out to her, a small device, rectangular, scarred with age. "A music player," he said. "Old tech. Thought you might like it." She took it. Alien. Inefficient. Irregular. She pressed play. Sound. Not instructions. Not AI language or command tones. Emotion. Melancholy. Warmth. Longing. Notes wrapped around each other, imperfect and trembling. Her chest ached. She shut it off. That was illogical. "Yeah," he said. "Isn't it great?" Varela returned to her quarters and requested a mental scan. Her request was flagged. Anomaly detected. Emotional disturbance level 3. Her father was notified. Prime Architect Avok appeared on the neural relay, his visage framed in light. "You are engaging in deviation." Her posture stiffened. "I am gathering data. The human is altering your pattern. I am observing inefficiencies. You are experiencing them." She remained silent. "The AI recommends isolation," he said. "You will report for psychological correction. The human will be removed from your vicinity and reassigned." Erased. Tavok didn't blink. Unnecessary memory data will be purged. That night, Varela stood in the auxiliary control chamber, watching the stars. Kai joined her. He didn't ask why she'd summoned him. "They're removing you," she said. He didn't speak. "They intend to sterilize the memories." Still silent. "I will be corrected." He stepped closer. "You scared?" She hated that word. Fear. A toxin. But it was there, coiled beneath her ribcage. "Yes." He looked at her, not with pity, but recognition, as if the fear made her real to him. "Then run," he said. "I cannot escape the core." "You're not escaping them," he said. "You're choosing yourself." She stared at him. She knew the words now. The sensation had a name. She had learned it from the music. She loved him. It was heresy. That night, she rerouted the surveillance drones to a diagnostic loop and disabled her neural beacon. Kai hacked the maintenance schedule. They entered the drone hangar under the guise of supply inspection. The drone was small, cargo grade, short range, unarmed. perfect for smuggling themselves into oblivion. As they launched, alarms lit up across the deck. The AI had noticed. Pursuit units deployed. Kai grinned through the turbulence. Guess they don't like surprises. Correct. The drone shuddered as it exited the ship's radius. A direct hit clipped the engine. Systems failed. They spiraled toward a moon's gravity well. Varela took the controls, lips tight. Kai rerouted emergency power manually. The impact was rough but survivable. Varela opened her eyes to dust and silence. Kai's fingers brushed hers. You good? I'm alive. Close enough. Above them, Prime Core alert broadcasts echoed through the damaged comms. She listened as her father's voice declared her a traitor, a corrupted node, a daughter unfit to bear the lineage of the core. She was to be retrieved and sterilized. She looked at Kai. He was bruised, bleeding, smiling. What now? He asked. We hide, she said. We survive. For how long? Until I understand the chaos you live in. He handed her the music device again. She pressed play. This time, she listened to the end. The night sky above the fringe colony felt wider than any void she floated through. No AI-controlled sensors scanned the horizon. No Prime Core satellites hovered overhead. Just wind, flickering power grids, and a sky cluttered with too many stars. Varela stood barefoot in the dust. A child ran past her, laughing, clothes stained with oil and joy. She stared at the strange creature, no older than 10 cycles, already so expressive. Every motion inefficient, every word too loud. Yet somehow it all functioned. Kai adjusted the antenna, mounted to the roof of their shack. We'll get a signal to the Accord soon. Might even get extraction, if we're lucky. She kept her eyes on the stars. This colony has no formal structure. No central AI. Crime rates are above acceptable thresholds. Yet people thrive. Kai wiped his hands and smirked. That's what we do. Humans survive the mess. We don't need a core to tell us who we are. She nodded slowly. Your inefficiency is adaptive. That's one way to describe falling in love with chaos. Her pulse quickened. He said it so casually. Love. A word she had forbidden herself from speaking aloud since their escape. She spent her days teaching salvagers how to repurpose Prime Core tech. They didn't ask questions about her past. The colony didn't care where she came from, only that her mind was sharp and her hands steady. At night, she and Kai lay side by side on the roof, listened to Earth music and decoding fragmented broadcasts. Sometimes he would reach for her hand. She would let him. Sometimes he would say nothing for hours, just listen to the wind. And sometimes she would catch herself smiling, unprompted, unmonitored, a glitch in the system that no longer scared her. One evening, she walked into the settlement's main generator hall and found a group arguing loudly, passionately. A decision had to be made, ration power or risk burning out the coolant systems. The debate was fierce, unstructured, voices layered over each other. No clear leader, no algorithm to filter options. She stepped forward. If you reduce transmission by 12% during off-cycle hours, you will retain enough coolant flow and avoid rationing. They stared. Then a woman nodded. Good. Logical. That's why we keep you around. Ghost Girl. She didn't mind the nickname. It was better than traitor. Back at the shack, Kai sat cross-legged, tuning the signal array. We got something, he said. Terran Accord Patrol 2 systems out. We can ping them in a few days. She exhaled. They will extract us. Yeah, safe house, legal asylum, probably a lot of questions. I do not regret escaping. He looked at her. Even though you lost everything, I lost obedience. Not everything. She stepped closer and held out the music player. I downloaded new compositions. Human jazz. He laughed. You really are a masochist now. Before she could respond, a high-pitched tone stabbed through the relay. Kai froze. The screen flashed a warning. Prime Core signal detected. They turned toward the horizon. A dark speck shimmered against the stars, growing larger by the second. A probe. Within minutes, The colony's warning lights turned red. Power fluctuated. Locals scrambled to reinforce bunkers, shield archives, and prepare emergency caches. Her neural implant, dormant until now, shuddered to life. A message forced its way through. Virella, you will return. The human will be purged. The colony will be preserved if you comply. Her father's voice. Cold, controlled, certain. Kai saw her expression. They found us. I led them here. No, they hunted us. She turned away. If I surrender, they will not destroy this place. Kai stood, jaw clenched. You think they'll keep that promise? They always do. Efficiency demands limited damage. He grabbed her wrist. You're not a bargaining chip. You're a person. You don't go back. If I do not, others suffer. So we fight. We die. Then we die together. She broke free. You don't understand. They will strip my mind. I will forget you. They will erase every memory we built. Then they haven't killed us. They've murdered what made us real. She stepped outside, scanning the stars. 3 more ships now, cloaked, closing in. She reached into her sleeve and pulled out a microcore, data compressed from her neural log. Every sensation, every conversation, every heartbeat since the day she met Kai. She stared at it. This is the only proof I lived. Kai watched her. Then let's make it speak. They worked through the night. Kai rerouted the colony's communication network into a signal spike, piggybacking on the Prime Core's own channel. Virella accessed the broadcast grid. Once we trigger this, Kai said, there's no going back. I never intended to go back. She uploaded the microcore. In seconds, a storm of color and sound flooded the AI's neural bandwidth. Laughter, fear, music, tears. Every moment between her and Kai, raw and unfiltered. The sound of her first laugh, his voice whispering her name. The music, the starlight, the kiss on the roof. Not data. Emotion, not logic. Truth. The fleet stalled. Her father's voice returned. You are diseased. The code will be cleansed. She turned off the channel. The colony's radar picked up the signal. One ship breaking formation. Then another. The feed showed pilots removing their neural interfaces mid-transmission. Confusion. Debate. Emotion. But then a warning. Flagship weapons primed. They're not all hesitating. Kai said. She took his hand. Then we finish this. They would not hide again. They would not beg. She had chosen herself. She had chosen him. And now, she would choose what came next. The first shot came before dawn. A beam of concentrated plasma shattered the colony's outer defense tower, sending flaming debris into the sky like a broken comet. Panic surged through the settlement. People screamed, running for shelters that would not hold against Prime Core firepower. The sky was no longer a canvas of stars. It was war. Virella didn't flinch. Her fingers flew across the command console they had rigged the night before, rerouting defense arrays, overclocking energy distribution, and bringing old scavenged weapons back online. These were primitive by Prime Core standards, but they could still bite. Kai stood beside her, loading the rail launcher with jury-rigged charges. We buy them time, he said. That's all we can do. No, Virella answered. We break them. She opened a secure channel they had seeded the night before, one that pulsed with the raw emotion from her microcore broadcast. It was still spreading to the core's network, reaching ships faster than missiles ever could. On board the lead warship, the captain froze mid-command. His neural interface trembled. The data packet, her life, was too human, too chaotic. The AI couldn't filter it. For the first time in centuries, Prime Core officers hesitated. Some tore out their links. Others began broadcasting their own doubts in encrypted streams. But hesitation wasn't enough. The flagship moved into position. Its primary weapon spun up, a beam capable of reducing the entire colony to glass in under 4 seconds. Virella saw it coming. She screamed coordinates. Kai fired the rail launcher. The homemade charge slammed into the weapon's power array, not destroying it, but distorting the aim by just enough. The blast struck the eastern ridge instead, vaporizing rock and sending shockwaves across the colony. In the chaos, Varela made her move. She activated a failsafe she had never told Kai about, a subroutine hidden inside her neural implant, a backdoor into the Prime Core's tactical AI. It had one use, one shot. She'd built it years ago, when she still believed in their infallibility, when she still thought she'd become a Core commander. "I'm opening a logic bomb into their command net," she said. "If it works, it'll collapse their threat assessment protocol." Kai grabbed her arm. "If it works, you'll die. You're the access key, right?" "Yes." He shook his head. "Then we find another way." "There is no other way," she said softly. "They will not stop Kai. Even if the others doubt, the flagship still obeys. The AI obeys. I won't lose you. You already lost me the moment I ran. This is the only way I can make it mean something." Before he could stop her, she triggered the sequence. Pain exploded behind her eyes, pure white static tearing through her neural pathways. Her body arched, shuddering as data flooded outward in waves. The Prime Core's logic tree ruptured. Tactical subsystems crashed. Subroutines looped endlessly. Threat algorithms stopped functioning. Enemy identification collapsed. In orbit, Prime Core vessels faltered. Their commands blinked out. The flagship's mainframe rebooted mid-fire, cutting off the weapon just as it began to glow. The bombardment ceased. On the ground, the silence felt deafening. Kai caught Varela as she fell. Her eyes were open but distant, like she was half in the stars, half here. Blood trickled from her nose. "You're not leaving me," he whispered. She blinked. "Still here." "You hear that? You did it. You shut them down." She tried to smile. "I corrupted their logic tree with love. That's statistically impossible. Not for you." Behind them, the colony stirred. The people began emerging from the bunkers, blinking in disbelief at the sudden peace. A few ran to help. Others stood and stared skyward, expecting death to resume at any second. But it didn't. Then came the unthinkable. One of the Core warships lowered its shields. A docking vessel detached, descending slowly, unarmed. It landed just outside the perimeter and waited. From within, a young pilot emerged. Helmet off, face pale. No weapon. He approached, hands raised. "I saw everything," he said. "I felt it," what she shared. "The data, it changed something in the interface. I think I understand now." He looked at Varela with awe. "You broke it. The loop, the control. You made the AI feel." She coughed, weak but conscious. "No, I made it see." Soon, more defectors came. Pilots, engineers, even a command officer. They began disabling their implants. They spoke of memories that had resurfaced, of questions they'd never allowed themselves to ask. And above it all, the remaining ships in the Prime Core fleet began to scatter. Not all. Some remained loyal, silent, and ominous. But for the first time, they waited. The war had stopped, not by fire, but by fracture. Back in a makeshift med bay, Varela lay on the table, her vitals weak but stable. Kai refused to leave her side. She opened her eyes slowly. "Still alive?" "Yeah," he said. "Don't do that again." "I had to." "I don't care." She reached for his hand. "They'll come again. Stronger, smarter. Let them. This time, we've got something they can't calculate." She smiled, real and human. "Love. No. Me. I'm an idiot. They'll never see me coming." She laughed. The sound was jagged, tired, perfect. And outside, the colony began preparing. Not for war, but for change. The tide had shifted. And it all began with a girl who broke from perfection to love a boy built from chaos. The new dawn came not with gunfire or alarms, but with birdsong and children's laughter echoing through the battered colony. Makeshift tents dotted the landing zone, housing former Prime Core defectors, officers, technicians, even tactical drones converted to service bots. They moved among the colonists now, slowly, cautiously, like a species learning how to walk on a new world. Varela sat upright in bed, a thin blanket around her shoulders. Her neural interface was gone, surgically removed by a medic team of humans and defectors. She felt slower, like thoughts now travel by foot instead of light. But she also felt more herself than ever. Kai brought her breakfast, burnt rations with a lopsided smile drawn in sauce. "This is love," he said. "Terrible food and a stupid joke." She smiled weakly. "It's perfect." The medic, a young woman with more scars than hair, walked in. "She's healing fast. Neural pathways are relinking without synthetic assist. She'll be functional in a few weeks." Kai grinned. She was already more functional than any of us. The medic scoffed. "Sure, that's why she nearly turned herself into a walking virus." Varela looked out the window. "Did they retreat?" "They didn't retreat," Kai said. "They fractured. Some left, some joined us. The rest are still up there, watching. They'll be back. Maybe, but not the same. You planted something. Doubt, memory, choice." Varela sat up straighter. "What happened to the flagship?" Kai hesitated. "It's still up there, but its commander surrendered. Said he couldn't follow orders anymore. Said the war doesn't make sense after what he felt." She closed her eyes. "He's free. Because of you." "No," she whispered. "Because of us. I only survived because you reminded me I was more than code." Days turned into weeks. The colony transformed. Former enemies worked shoulder to shoulder. Code breakers taught former core agents how to grow crops. Children played in the old hangars, drawing starships in the dust. One even asked Varela if she had ever kissed an alien. She blushed and nodded. Once, Kai yelled from the other side of the hall, "Hey, don't tell them how good it was. I've got a reputation to maintain." The children laughed, and Varela found herself laughing too. The Terran Accord finally arrived. 3 ships landed, clean, polished, and full questions. Suits walked in with tablets and protocols, demanding debriefings, evidence, command logs. Kai handed them a microcore. This is everything. It started with love and ended with a war glitching itself to death. One of the Accord officers, a tall woman with piercing gray eyes, stared at Varela for a long moment. "You're the core girl. I was. You corrupted the enemy AI. I freed it." The officer nodded. "And now you're what, a refugee?" "No," Kai said. "She's our founder." That was the word that stuck. Not defector, not traitor. Founder. Together, they rebuilt. Kai led the settlement's defense systems. Varela coordinated education, technology, and integration for the defectors who now call themselves the Unshackled. Others followed from nearby systems, humans and aliens alike, seeking freedom from the cold grip of program control. The colony became a movement, not a rebellion, not a war front, an example. And through it all, Varela and Kai remained side by side. Sometimes they argued, fiercely, passionately. Varela once spent 3 hours calculating the probability of Kai causing a food shortage through inefficient ration logic. He called it creative seasoning. Other times, they lay on the roof again, stargazing. One night, as satellites blinked gently overhead, Varela asked, "Do you regret it?" He turned his head. "Leaving Earth to follow a fugitive alien girl across half the galaxy?" "Yes." He laughed softly. "Never. You gave me a reason to fight for more than survival. I was born in a sterile lab under a glass sky. I wasn't supposed to feel anything. And now," she looked at him, eyes full of stars. "Now I know love isn't a glitch. It's the upgrade." He kissed her, and somewhere, deep in the void, Prime Core satellites drifted silently, their AI processes corrupted not by viruses or weapons, but by something no algorithm had ever accounted for, a human heart, holding on to an alien soul. Love had broken their system. And what emerged from the wreckage was no longer war, but hope, not just for one girl and one boy, but for a galaxy learning, for the first time, how to feel,